One of the toughest things to overcome in a tough relationship is to protect yourself financially. The imbalance of power and financial abuse, even if you make more money than your partner, can cause you to stay in a relationship far longer than you need to. So let's talk about that. Welcome to Resilience This Week. This is the weekly show that helps you become a more resilient person. And this week, we are diving into ways to protect yourself financially from a tough relationship and so much more. So I hope you'll join us for the entire show. I'm Stacy Brookman, life storytelling and resilience expert and host of the Real Life Resilience podcast, the Life Story Laboratory, and the Emotional Abuse Recovery and Resilience Summit. Now, here's a question of the day. Have you ever had to put in place a financial escape plan? Let me know in the comments below. I didn't even know what one was until I needed it, and then it was too late. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You know, so many women feel like they have to have money and investments in order to plan to have a financial safety net, and that is just not true. Finances are one of the most confusing subjects and one most people try to avoid when times are tough or a relationship is tough. However, it is one of the most important aspects that should be taken care of. This is something you definitely don't want to hide your head in the sand about. You know, when we're going through trauma, we often put things off. We shun them. We try to escape even thinking about finances because it seems too hard or too difficult. You start to think that a divorce is expensive. Of course, yes, it is. You aren't making much money or sometimes none at all. You're worried about what he might think and what your family might think. And there's never enough to go around. And it's just all overwhelming. What I'd like for you to do is to get all of that brain fog out of your head and let's look at it in black and white. Right now, finances probably have control over you and your stress level is over the top. But once you have things written down, once you really take a look at what you have and what you need to do, it can be eye-opening. And that gives you clarity and the steps to move forward. This is so comforting. You can finally be in control of something instead of stress and uncertainty being in control of you. You may have been told that you are too stupid to understand finances or you can't handle money, but you certainly can. And it's easier than you've been led to believe. So that's the first step, is to stop and commit yourself that you're going to get this down on paper and work it out. Tell yourself it's doable. Of course, everyone is coming from a different dynamic situation, their history and thought processes around money. But hear me out. I want to show you how you can protect you. You are valuable enough to be protected. If you don't protect you, who will? And that means protected financially too. You have the right to protect yourself financially. Every human being on earth has the right to do that. All right, next, you want to start a bank account in your name only. Now that's tricky because when you open a bank account, you have to give them your address and they send mail to you. So you'll want to have the address of a trusted friend where your partner does not have access. A work address isn't the best depending on your relationship with your work, but you can use a P.O. box address as well. The next thing you want to do is get a credit card in your name only before you leave the relationship. Why? Because when you apply for that card, you can use the household income as a measure to apply for it. Now, you might have a credit card in your purse that has your name on it, but that doesn't mean the card is in your name. You might be an authorized user or both of you are on the account. This is an independent financial identity of your own that you're trying to establish. You're trying to get a financial history in your name only. So you have a credit score that's associated with only you. And that is really, really important as you go to apply for an apartment or loans or anything like that. Lots of other stuff. So protecting yourself financially means getting access also to your household financial information. Usually people think about this when it's too late. I certainly did. So get this stuff before you leave. I actually realized the depth of my partner's deception when I went to get my kids' social security cards to start them a bank account. All of their stuff was gone. All of our past taxes were gone. All the financial records, all of the kids' school records, their vaccination records, their scrapbooks that I had made, everything I'd ever saved for them, all gone. All records were gone. Getting household financial information also means pulling a credit report on yourself. So you can get this free from the three credit reporting agencies. They all give you one free credit report per year. And this is important because a lot of times this will show where you're at one point in time. And sometimes your partner may have opened up accounts in your name that you don't even know about. This will show what's open. If you have a joint business together, you'll want to pull this same financial information for the business, even if you're not the one who keeps the books. You'll want to look at insurance policies, retirement accounts, or if you do have investments, look at those as well. Which reminds me, be sure to do this on someone else's computer or do it in an incognito browser so that it can't be traced. So let's think about what's next. You have the right mindset that you deserve to have financial independence, and you start taking control of that. You started a bank account in your name only with an address of a trusted friend. You applied for a credit card in your name only, and you've gotten access to household information, the financial information. Maybe you've even copied them or put them in a safe location elsewhere, and you've pulled your credit report. Now let's start putting a little bit of money aside for yourself into that account. It could be giving it to a friend or having some of your paycheck direct deposited if you can keep that hidden, or some other way of saving money into that account where it won't be noticed. Now listen, this is not illegal. I don't care what state you're living in. You are not doing anything wrong by walking away with some money. Doesn't matter what state, where you're at, as long as you keep the documentation to show you're not hiding anything from the court, you're just trying to protect yourself, then it won't be a problem. And you have the right to. One of the biggest mistakes that women in tough situations do when it comes to the actual divorce is to just walk away from everything. It's been so tough. They take the attitude of, just let him have it, then he'll be happy. This person will never be happy. No matter how much you give in, no matter how much you compromise. They will pretend to play nice to get you to agree to things that aren't in your best interest, and you will walk away with regrets. So you really need to take the emotions out of these decisions and out of these actions. It's a business transaction. Don't think that you're a good person and therefore you give and give, because you will never receive. The other person has fooled you enough times that if you really look at this in black and white, you will see that this is the same type of a situation that you've been in before. If they were an upstanding person, that would be different, but they're not. And they've already proven that many, many times over, that they're not an upstanding person. They're also not charitable. They're not going to give you things that you think they are. The next thing, or actually maybe the first thing, is to start taking pictures of everything in your house, things that are insured, household items, anything of value. And that includes the time and date for these photos and storing them somewhere in a cloud folder that he does not have access to, or send them to a friend. It's highly, highly recommended that you work with a financial person who is trained to assist you at this time in your life. There are people out there who are into financial divorce, and they know what to look for and how to help you protect yourself. They can testify for you in court if they have the documents. They can look at past tax returns and look for misconduct there. Now, one thing you don't want to do is talk to a lot of people and get conflicting advice from friends and family members. Really get advice from a trained professional. You can also go to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. That's the ncadv.org website. And they have financial education that's free. It's ncadv.org/financial-education. Listen, it's never too late to start being wise about your finances. It can be very liberating, even if you don't have much at all. Okay, we've talked about different way to protect yourself financially in a tough relationship and getting out of a tough relationship. I really hope this has helped open your eyes to some steps that you can take to protect yourself. And I'm begging you, don't ignore this advice. I don't want you to regret it later. And don't forget the question of the day. Have you ever had to put in place a financial escape plan? Do you have ideas other than what I've already mentioned? Oh, please share those things with me in the comments below. I would love to know them. Now, if you want to know more, I also have a deeper dive video I'd like to share with you. It's called A Financial Guide to Moving On. It's a deeper dive into finances when you're splitting up. And it's an interview I did with Leah Hadley, who's founder of Great Lakes Divorce Financial Solutions. And I'm sharing it with you for free for 72 hours after this Resilience This Week video airs. You'll find the link below. I really appreciate all of my fans, and I'm very, very thankful for everyone who's watching and those people who share the show with your friends who might need to be more resilient and who might need this information about protecting themselves financially. All right, that's all for now. I will catch you next week on Resilience This Week. My name is Stacy Brookman. Women leverage me to unleash their stories and discover their hard-won wisdom so they can command their personal power and emerge resilient and joyful. Because so many are trapped in a cycle of crazy, depleted emotionally, and live with the scars of emotional abuse and low self-esteem. I help them gain clarity from their life lessons, lean on their hard-won wisdom, and have power to feel confident in themselves again. Will you join me? Click here to do so.